stick with that story. Joined now by Advocate Paul Hoffman to respond to the situation around digital vibes from Accountability Now. Advocate Hoffman, thank you for your time. So we have 6 more officials suspended, added to the Director General. The suspension of a Director General, is big news because this is the head of the administrative arm of a department whose only counterpart really is the head of the political arm of things. But is it significant enough? Does it go far enough, the actions we are seeing? We are told one Dr. Anban Pillay, a DDG, should be criminally prosecuted. Is this really, are these steps sufficient in your view?
Well, what we have, Thulasizwe, and thank you for the opportunity, good afternoon to your viewers. What we have here is a situation where the minister, who is the political head of the Department of Health, has tendered his resignation, all the while keeping a good relationship with his successor, which is a little bit difficult to understand, and the Director General suspended by the President because he's a presidential appointee. That has already happened. And as we've just heard from the new minister, 6 more officials in the Department of Health will be joining the ranks of those on precautionary suspension pending the preferment of disciplinary charges as to whether they've been doing their job properly. And after that is all sorted out, or maybe in parallel, the Hawks and the NPA will look at the work of the SIU that has been done on this case and make up its mind as to whether there should be criminal prosecutions. This entire press conference this morning has been utterly underwhelming. The minister kicks off by thanking the president for making a 2.5-month-old report available to him. That report should have been made available in an open and accountable dispensation 2.5 months ago. So there's nothing to say thank you for. There's no explanation as to why the report has been sat upon for 2.5 months. The acting DG talks about mistakes were made. I'm sorry, the only mistakes that were made was that these people got caught. What they were involved in was a fraudulent scheme to relieve the taxpayers of South Africa of 150 million rand at a time when we are facing a pandemic. That cannot possibly be a mistake. The fraud in this case is absolutely frightening. And the fact that it's going to take so long to sort it out is demonstrated on the strapline at the bottom of the page. Mr. Makanya, the architect from eNCA, he's in court today facing the civil consequences of the irregularities in eNCA. There was a draft public protector report about Mr. Makanya's involvement as President or ex-President Zuma's architect in that matter, going all the way back to 2013. It's a repeat of the Busasa story, where the SIU said, charge these people that have been ripping off the Department of Correctional Services back in 2009. Nobody's been convicted to this day. Mr. Makanya is now crying off sick. So the can gets kicked down the road. I'm afraid until there is an integrity commission, we're not going to get this sort of problem dealt with.
Are you not comforted at all, Advocate Hoffman, in the moves we've seen the criminal justice system in the form, in particular, of the NPA and the investigating directorate, which I know would probably not have jurisdiction, in fact, would not have jurisdiction over this particular matter because they are concerned with issues of state capture. But are you not comforted that the SIU recommendations in this instance could be acted upon quite swiftly?
No, I really don't see it happening. You can see when the department is characterizing a fraud as a mistake, then you're starting on the wrong footing. When the SIU has absolutely no criminal jurisdiction and its work has to be double-checked, first by the Hawks and then by the NPA before you get any go forward on a prosecution, then you're looking at a situation where you are making South Africa a paradise for looters and crooks. What we need is to consolidate all of the work that is done by the SIU, the Hawks, and the NPA into one institution that is coordinated and is not forever passing the buck down the line. We've been talking about this for a long time, Thulasizwe. It is time for South Africans to recognize that they are going to be the ongoing victims of kleptocrats and crooked civil servants unless and until the corruption with impunity, corruption with no consequences, is brought to an end. And it's not going to be brought to an end by getting the SIU to look at this aspect, and the Hawks to look at that aspect, and the NPA to look at the next aspect, and then at some stage in the future get to the point where there is actually a case in a court of law. The reform of the criminal justice administration so that loot can be raked back quickly, and so that those who deserve to have orange overalls actually get them. That's what we need.
Advocate Hoffman, thank you. And thank you for that prop there at the end to make the point about the need for orange overalls. You'll be pleased to know, and I think you know this already, that the whole urgency of needing to set up one institution that can do all of this work so that you don't have a staggered approach where the SIU investigates and takes civil action, then followed by the Hawks, then followed by the NPA. You share that view with the current NDPP, Shamila Batoyi. She's been pushing for that as well. Hopefully we get some movement because we've seen how that model can work. That is Advocate Paul Hoffman of Accountability Now. Using that prop there, that jersey that he has around his shoulders to make the point about the need for more people to be wearing orange jumpsuits, orange overalls.